Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some and peace out to SW. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I appreciate the support you guys have shown me in part one, and I mean it from the bottom of my black heart, from the depths of my black mind. I will shamelessly tell you all that you should go and check out the Buy Me a Coffee because I am posting confessions as I find them so that you can always refer back to them. But those are for the subscribing members, the first class. I got other things in there for both classes. But this one is part two of She Said Touch and Your Answer Made Me Proud. Part two of this. I really couldn't go too deep in part one because I was at work and I didn't want to raise my voice and really let it go. But right now, I'm here at the bus station and we'll leave in a little bit. But, I wanted to tell y'all that Marni, your personal wing girl, at least that was her YouTube name a long time ago, was one of the dating coaches or dating roaches featured on Manosphere Highlights Daily's video. And she said something that is true, but again, she said it for the wrong reason. Marni sat up and said, if you don't break the touch barrier, you're just going to get friend zoned. True statement, but so further mucking what? The only right, this has always been true, but the only right way to deal with that is for you to sit up and say, I'm friend zoning you dumb broads, independently of a touch barrier. It's not because there are no inappropriate ways to put your hands on a lady. There are inappropriate ways to do it. It is because there are no appropriate ways to do that. Now, I would say, of course, Islamically in a marriage, there are appropriate ways. But I've been married and regretted it too. And found there were no appropriate ways. And I just said, you know what? Never mind. Nope. Look, you young cats are the generation right now that is on the receiving end of being called the softest guys in the world. Every generation was referred to this by the generation of guys that came before them. Y'all soft, y'all wimps. And sometimes it's true, sometimes it ain't. What I want you guys to know, though, is that you did fix a particular problem. When they came along and they said that dumb stuff about the touch barrier and this is the right way and this is the wrong way, you guys in the comments had fixed a lot of the problem long before the video came out, but this was a demonstration of how you have fixed the problem. You merely, your responses and comments merely reflected an attitude, but that attitude is the attitude that my generation should have had when it came to D's broads, D's O's. They had the same back and forth, no, that's not right type of neurosis as well. Maybe even psychosis. He touched me. No, he didn't. That sort of thing. They have to erect a barrier. And I already talked about that because their dignity and their sense of self-worth comes from being sought after but unattained. And then when nobody wants them, their sense of dignity comes from actually getting someone. So it's always whatever. It comes from getting whatever you don't want from, you don't want to give them or whatever it is you don't want. That's where they get it. That's why if you were looking to be a dad one day, then they abort. If you weren't, then they are going to keep it and deliver it. That's the reason why they do these things. It's whatever you don't want, wherein they get their dignity, their sense of self-worth. So when they started talking all this stuff, know that Marni herself is an issue. Now, she may not be hateful about it, but Marni is a problem. Because, see, if Marni had the epiphany she needed, Marni would have said, you know what? You're going to be friend zoned if you don't break that touch barrier. But then again, there's not a right way to do it, and we're the ones that are neurotic and sometimes even psychotic and completely out of touch with reality. So since that's what's going on, you know what? Never mind. Don't even worry about the touch barrier. Y'all just go ahead and friend zone us because we're the idiots that demand that. We can't respect you anyway. The fact that you're even trying to figure this stuff out is the part of the problem. The fact that you're even trying to develop what you call game is because we have all the game from the very beginning. And the fact that you've never gotten sick and tired of the foolishness means that you're lacking in game no matter what you do until the day you decide to say, never mind, I'll stay by myself, if that's what the hell it takes. Like what we will do. She had the epiphany that she really needs to have, and she may have had it and just hidden it. But if she has that epiphany, she'll stop trying to be a wing girl to a bunch of guys who will pay her, and she would turn around and realize, you know what? Even though this is where the money is, it's only because the men haven't figured out that we're really just impossible on purpose. She hadn't said that because she knows that that's where the money dries up. If she comes out and says that, it dries up. The men start saying, you know what? She admitted it. And she stood up and said, you know, women that look like me are even more impossible because we can be. She knows the money dries up. So what happens next? Then she has to turn around and get her money from a lady audience, and that lady audience ain't gonna pay a goddamn thing unless you sit up there and tell them how great they are, even though they're impossible, and how unconditionally saintly they are, even though they're not. There is literally nothing else for which they will pay. They're going to be wrong, and they will only pay you to tell them they're not wrong, even when they're wrong. So this goes much deeper, and that's what I decided I'd go ahead and save for part 2. I don't want y'all thinking for 1 second, not for a second, do I want you all thinking that there was some right way to go about this ever. I don't want y'all thinking for 1 second that when it comes to even the touch barrier, that there's a right way to break it. The right way to break that touch barrier is you don't let them break it, but if you do like her enough to discuss with her, then you meet with her dad and her, and she understands that y'all can break the touch barrier after y'all sign a marriage contract. And you don't go back on that. The other thing too was this. In the West, women they're quick to tell you, I don't make the first move. Muslim women will do the same thing even in the West. If they just don't do it, but they play the traditional role, okay, fine. But if they tell you that they don't, and they're from the West, you get up and move right then and there. Ask them, where were you born and raised? Here. And you have to physically say, you have to vocally say you don't make the first move? Well, you seem like you're waiting on something. Okay, well, since we were both raised here, you know that I have a right to sit back and wait on something. And that's whether you really were or not. First thing you do is you point out your right to do it. And then that's when you get up and you bounce out. And if you already signed the contract, but you didn't consummate, then you just go ahead and say, we're going to get this annulled. We never consummated. Just for saying that. It's that important. Because the fact that they're still talking to you about how to break this barrier means that they still consider it your job to figure out the very same damn thing they're trying to make sure you can't figure out, and about which they want to keep you confused intentionally. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, even though we got a while before we leave, I think I'll go ahead and jump on the bus, get a good seat if I can. I wanted to tell you guys that if you do go and subscribe to the first class section of Jet Black Air, and I mean the first class, the monthly recurring subscription, if you do go and subscribe to that, at 4 p.m. your time, Central Time, this evening, that a rhyme or I wouldn't call it a rap per se, but a rhyme, a a poem about 6 minutes long and some seconds is going to be available. And it won't be the last of its kind. And Marni is looking for ways to get paid from guys by trying to tell them about how to. Oh, my bad. I'm in the wrong line the whole time. She's trying to get paid by telling guys what they don't know. But not by telling them what they need to know. In other words, she's trying to tell them new ways. She's trying to sell new ways for men to keep trying. And what I'm telling you is that in actuality, what you're going to need is for someone to remind you that it ain't your fault. And that type of information was not supposed to be for sale if they really cared anything about a population decline. More to come later. But for now, thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.